Welcome to week 2. We are covering target market mastery. Basically, if you are building your brand, you know who you are, you know what you're about, you're starting to get a feel for how you want to be perceived. The next step is understanding who is it you're targeting? Who is it that you want to work with? And also, once you know those pieces of information, you can then create marketing that's going to not only speak to your ideal client, but it will also speak to a group of them, which is your target market. So for you to better understand what is going to come out of this module, you're going to, number one, understand what your ideal client and target market is and how this can help your business. And then number 2 is get to know them on an intimate level so you can tailor your marketing message directly towards them. So your ideal client is a specific customer persona that you would love to work with and serve. I'll give you an example. You know, when you're in your salon and you have some clients that book in, they come in and you just get so excited to see them. You have the best conversations. They're happy with your work. You know, it feels like you're not even working because you just get to catch up. And then on the other hand, you might have clients that come in and you feel emotionally and mentally drained after seeing them. Maybe you're a little bit anxious that they're going to complain about something, or, you know, they're just the nightmare client. They're rescheduling. They're not showing up to appointments. They're really inconsistent. I think it's super important for you to understand who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. It's kind of like dating and relationships. You need to have a standard or an expectation of what you're looking for in clients. Because if you don't, that's when you can attract anyone and everyone. And sometimes what that can lead to is burnout. It can actually lead to resentment within your job. So once you know who your ideal client is, which we'll work on together, you'll also start to get a better understanding of the target market, which is essentially a big group of all your ideal clients. So these are your potential customers who share similar needs or characteristics and are most likely to buy your products or services. So ideal client is the specifics. Target market is still understanding specific things, but it's the larger group. Are you following me? Is all of this making sense so far?
Yeah.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, awesome. So with an ideal client and target market, so you actually knowing what this is, you can tailor products, services, and messaging to meet specific needs and preferences. You get better customer satisfaction, higher conversion rates, increased sales and revenue. You can develop more effective marketing strategies. You can identify the best channels, tactics, and messages to reach and engage your target audience. You can prioritize marketing efforts and allocate resources more effectively. And it's also a more efficient and cost-effective approach. Now, without you understanding who your ideal client target market is, you can waste resources. You can have ineffective marketing strategies, low conversion rates, a poor return on investment. You can definitely have difficulty differentiating yourself from competitors and difficulty establishing a unique value proposition that resonates with your target audience. So what's going to make you different? You're always going to have your unique selling point, you know, what makes you different from other people, but also your ideal client. You know, what type of person are you trying to attract? An example is if you were a holistic wellness salon that loves mindset and, you know, self-care and always likes to use organic products, you're going to want to attract those type of clients. Whereas the salon next door offering the exact same services, the same prices, their ideal client or target market might be more so the people who, you know, want the glam look. They want high quality products that are from a certain brand, like whatever it is, you know, even if you're offering the same services, the same products, the same price point, understanding your unique selling point and also understanding your ideal client target market, that's how you can create a differentiation. So when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. The idea of me sharing this quote is if I go, hey, everyone, I'm just looking for lash clients, like come book in with me. No one's going to care. No one's going to hear you. But if you say, if you're a time poor mum who's looking to wake up every morning feeling refreshed, get the kids to school on time and not have to worry about putting on that dreaded mascara or those heavy false eyelashes, eyelash extensions are for you. All of a sudden, I've said, mum, I've given an example of what she would be experiencing. I've spoken about the current problem, and I've also given her a solution or an ideal outcome. Now, if you're to read my marketing, it says DM to book in now, or it's saying, you know, this service, it's not really going to mean anything to anyone. So this is why you would start to, I guess, build out a client avatar, an ideal client profile to understand who your ideal client is, who your target market is. And then once you've got that information, as you're going to create your content, whether it's for your website, whether it's your captions, whether it's your videos, whatever you're doing to communicate and market, you always want to have the ideal client in the forefront of your mind. And I always think the easiest way to do it is like having a conversation to that person, using the word you, and then I guess specific examples of language they use, you know, stories that are relatable to them. If you start speaking with the word you, they're going to feel like, wow, that's talking to me. That's resonating to me. I'm experiencing that. Okay. Like they're going to connect with it a lot more. If you just try to speak to everyone, then it's not going to have as much of an impact. So there's 9 questions here, and these will be released in this week's worksheet that I want you to spend some time and journal on. This is to really understand your ideal client and your target market. So number 1 is, where does your ideal client hang out and congregate? So knowing exactly where your dream buyers are hanging out influences a lot of things, including where you should advertise. I don't know what I meant to say there. The tone of your copy. Sorry, I forgot the T, and vernacular to use. So where are they hanging out online? Where are they hanging out in person? And the more detailed and specific, the better. So Matisse, where are your people hanging out online? I think you're on mute still.
I find most of my clients come from Instagram, and when I try and look through hashtags, I'm looking like local places, people that do things like Pilates or go to the like local gyms. I always look through them. What else do I have? I don't know, I've got a whole list of things that I go through. But
what kind of age are they?
I try and go for like 20s to like 20s and older, but not past around 50s.
Yeah.
But my main clientele is probably within their 20s to 40s.
Awesome. Okay. And then what about you, Jazz? Where do you feel like your ideal clients hanging out?
Yeah, so I think most of mine come from Instagram as well, but then a lot of them, I don't know, I just think TikTok's a big thing at the moment, so I'm trying to get more into the TikTok. But yeah, and then I have quite a big age range. Like I have some like 14-year-olds, which is crazy, and a lot older. Like I've got one lady that's probably like early 70s. And I like the range, like I like the difference in everyone. So I don't know specifically what I'd want to go for, but I think probably leaning more towards like the mums and the older people, because I feel like they're more consistent in what they do as well. Like they find someone and they like it and they stick to it because they know that it works for them, sort of thing. So I think that that's a good point for me. Yeah.
For sure. And where do you feel like they would hang out in person? If you've got, this is where sometimes the age range can be very varying, because, you know, if you've got a bunch of 25 to 35-year-olds, you know, they might be going out to nice restaurants, they might be going to other things. If you've got 70-year-olds, you know, they might be going to the news agency every day.
Yeah.
So understanding what age you're targeting and where the majority of them are hanging out, when you use specific examples, or when you're thinking, okay, when's the best time to send the email, or when's the best time to put up a post, it's more relevant to what they're doing in their day.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people obviously work still. And then a major thing that I've noticed as well actually is just everyone's doing Pilates at the moment. Everyone loves it. So yeah.
Pilates are great because it's less price sensitive clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know that Pilates isn't cheap, especially reformer. You know, you do 1-2 classes and it's almost $60, I think.
Yeah.
Depends where you go, but that is definitely a better place to look. And, you know, also knowing the areas, which areas are, I guess, less price sensitive clients. If you want more consistency, or you're charging a price point, like going, okay, well, where is the money? You're not going to sell $1 million home to broke people, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's valuable. Thank you for sharing. What about you, Leanna? What kind of age range are you targeting and where are they hanging out?
So mostly 20 to 35 years old is the bulk of my clients, but I do have a few older clients as well, but they're few and far between. Mostly hanging out on Instagram. I don't really get anyone, very marginally, coming through from Facebook. If I do, it'll be those older clients. But I have thought about getting on TikTok. I just haven't done it yet. But I'm just mindful of not bringing in too younger clients, because in my experience, I've found that they can be a little bit more flaky.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I think that's kind of what's made me think, is that the right avenue for me and my ideal client?
I think another thing to ask yourself is, you know, what's the price point of my services? How often should these people be returning? And if you look at the income of what someone younger would be making, let's say it's like a 14 to 16-year-old on probably minimum wage, versus someone who has a full-time job, they work in corporate, they value their beauty. Like, there's going to be a big difference in, I guess, the longevity of them being a client. And
100%.
I noticed this in all beauty services, really, apart from maybe brows. I feel like brows girls will prioritize a little bit more, but lashes and skin, it's kind of like, oh, I've got this event coming up, or I just want it when it's really, really bad, or I really need it now, but they won't stay in the long term. And I think understanding, okay, which clients do I love working with, but also which ones are going to be the best to work with in terms of having that security and stability within rebookings and consistency in income.
100%. And yeah, I've just found they definitely don't have as much disposable income. So yeah, not my ideal client.
Yeah. And that's perfectly okay, because you don't want to be putting all your marketing messaging out to the younger people if you know that's not who I want to work with.
No, definitely not.
Thank you for sharing. I have the second question, and this is, where does your ideal client get their information? So back to what we were just speaking about, different ages are going to go to different places. I know for me, when I was just recently traveling, I would have normally used Google and YouTube, But for some reason, I found myself on TikTok. It was just a better search engine, best places to go eat, all of that. When it comes to me Googling something about, I guess, business or how to fix a car tire or something, it's probably going to be Google or YouTube. If I'm looking up a business, like a place to eat, it's probably going to be Instagram. And I know these are all different things. And the reason why I'm telling you this is, okay, your ideal client wants to find something out about beauty. That's the industry. They're not trying to figure out, how to cook a recipe or something. They want to know beauty specifically, getting your services. Where are they going to look? What age are they? What's their primary search engine? If I'm to ask you guys, and just drop it in the chat, if you're looking at reviews for a beauty salon or a hairdresser, do you go to Google? Do you go to Facebook? Or do you go anywhere else? Like, where would you go first? Got some charts coming through. Google. So the fact that you all say Google is that when you ask your clients for reviews, I wouldn't be putting them on Facebook. I'd be putting them on Google. And another thing to think about is Google, you've got my business profile set up, right? Let's say Facebook goes down the same fate, 10, 20 years later on. Who knows, it might even be 5, just like MySpace. All your reviews are gone. Google's not really going anywhere, whereas Facebook is. Like, it has the potential to, become outdated. It's not the popular thing anymore. More social media platforms come out overall. So just knowing, okay, Google is where they're going. Well, if you don't have a Google My Business profile set up, if you don't have reviews on there, if you don't have some information about your business on Google, then you're probably going to be missing out on a bunch of potential clients. Now, with that being said, if they are looking on Google and you're looking on Google, if you don't have a website, then you're also missing out on the opportunity to have those clients, because yes, social media is popular, but Google is your portfolio, it's your landing page, it's how people get to see how professional you are, what you offer, all of that. I always think social media is great because, it gives you those eyeballs and stuff like that. And people can go, okay, do I like their content? Do I connect with them? Do I resonate? But having a website there is also as equally important. If I came across a business and I see that they've got an awesome social media, but they don't have a website, I kind of question their professionalism, or I go, why don't they have a website? It adds a level of credibility and trust to your business. Now, if you're just working from home, you're keeping things low key and, you're not trying to grow and scale your business, then yes, the first year of business, you can get away with not having a website. But as you get to the stage where you're like, okay, I want to grow my business, I want more people to, if you want to go into training, if you want to go into any of those other avenues, you need to have a website, because I'm too poor to pay for one. Well, there's plenty of budget-friendly options. Like Squarespace, I think it's 300 or something, around 300, 400 for a year. You set up your domain with GoDaddy. I think Squarespace, you can even get a domain included. And you can just set it up and do it in your own time. There's heaps of templates. Just having something basic there is better than having nothing at all, because when people search you up, there's this thing called search engine optimization, which is SEO. And if your business has keywords, your website, has keywords and all of that, as people search you up, you can have the opportunity to rank higher. So then it's like, how do you become number one in your area? So whenever someone searches up, eyelash extensions or cosmetic tattooing or massage or skin, treatments, that you're going to be the first one that ranks so that they click on you and then they're more likely to come to you. Question 3, what are their biggest frustrations and challenges? So take a walk in your ideal client's shoes and really dive deep into their specific pain points and problems they are experiencing. Whatever you are selling has to solve a problem large enough that your ideal client will happily part with their hard-earned money for you to solve it from them. So when your ideal client sees a testimonial from a customer who solved their biggest frustrations and challenges with your product or service, then they are more likely to buy from you. Who here knows what some of the biggest frustrations and challenges your ideal client would be going through and why they would come to you? Leanna?
Just overwhelmed with the cosmetics industry. I think there's so much out there. And when you try and look at what skincare would be good for you and you don't have, like, I guess that education and background, it is super overwhelming. So I think that's the biggest one for my clients.
And do you ever sit there in your posts or, on your stories anywhere, do you talk about, I hear and I understand that this is an overwhelming thing for a lot of people and this is how I can help?
I do.
Make it less overwhelming.
Yeah, now I'm learning more how to speak to my ideal client. I'm trying that in different ways, but I can definitely improve upon it just so they know that I'm speaking to them and their pain points. So there's definitely, room to grow for me there.
I think that's the beauty of it. You'll always be trialing and testing new things, and you can look at your insights and see how many saves did this get, how many shares or comments, because that's, I guess, the type of engagement where is this connecting? Is this resonating? But in terms of understanding your frustrations and challenges, people want to be heard. There's this thing in NLP we say, like, feel, felt, found. I feel your pain. I've felt that what you're going through, and I've found the solution for it. Like, all of a sudden, those 3 things make someone go, oh, wow, okay, they really hear me. They know what I'm going through and they're here to help. Because we're humans. We value connection. We want to be heard. I don't want to just have this product shoved into my face and being force-fed that I need it. I want to know, okay, is this actually the right thing for me? Is this going to help? And without knowing where your ideal client is at with their frustrations, their challenges, all of those things, you just try to shove something in their face and they're not really connecting or resonating with that. So then the inverse of that is, what are their hopes, dreams, and desires? So this helps you paint a vivid picture of what life could be like after using your products and services. So this is an example, I want better skin. They're obviously not going to know all the products, the services, the terminology, and all of that stuff. They just know, okay, this is what I want. I want it to be better, right? And then an example of you speaking to their desires might be, our winter skin bootcamp is specifically designed to treat and heal any acne, blemishes, and pigmentation issues. Say hello to healthy, glowing skin in 12 weeks. What I want you to do is start really diving deep into, what is it that people want? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that sound like to them? For you to join this course, obviously there were some challenges with marketing. You either didn't understand it, or you were doing some things and they weren't really working. Now, your desire might be, I want to understand marketing and I want more clients. Me talking to you about that is, I'm going to make marketing simple, easy to implement, and I'm going to give you proven strategies that I know will get you more clients, or, and I can get more specific on that. It might be get you 50 clients within 12 weeks. The more specific you can be, and the more relatable, the more they're going to connect with it. Is this all making sense? Are you guys following? Do you have any questions?
I have one question, just in terms of skin, like reading that copy and saying 12 weeks, like gives me a heart attack, just because I understand that putting a like time frame on it is really important. I guess that's just scary on my end because there's so many variables when it comes to skin. So how important is giving that time frame? And is there another way that it can be kind of worded so it's not such a promise, or is that pivotal?
I can understand skin. I did this example at the back end. I didn't really know the time frame, to be completely honest with you, but giving someone, so if you weren't certain you could deliver on a result and you don't have that confidence, then don't promise it. But if you know you can deliver, then adding that in can help, I guess, build more trust. It's kind of like a guarantee. What could you guarantee? You know, would it be if they start the winter skin boot camp, it would be better by summer? You know, perfect in time for summer. Like, are there other kind of words or time frames that you could insinuate? I know what you mean, because for me, when I first started coaching, I think Matisse was one of the first people that signed up with me. I didn't know how many clients people could get while working with me and what kind of time frame. So I was really scared. I said, do you get 5 clients this? Like, do I base it off a week or a month? And now I'm like, no, if you use my strategies, I know based off over 30 people, the average result was, and it was over 50 clients within 12 weeks. That way I knew, okay, there's been consistency. I know I can get this result. Like, yes, there will always be outliers. There will be people that don't follow your skincare. There'll be people that don't rebook and then they'll come back out of time. But you've got to look at, okay, what are the average, not average results. I hope you're producing amazing results. But baseline, out of all the clients you've worked with, what outcome do you know that you can deliver or promise on them with confidence and certainty?
Yeah. And like, I'm very confident that I can help someone if they do listen to, all the advice and stuff like that. But I think it's more so you could have someone coming in with like chronic acne that they've had for like 6 years and they've got like pustules and really angry skin versus someone who could have like a few breakouts. So I'm guessing in that scenario, you could say like, what's the worst case? Or like you said, what's that average, and just do it based on that.
Yep. Or, noticeable improvements in.
That's good language.
I feel like it just depends. It really depends, how you base your results off skin, especially cosmetics as well, and nurses. There's a lot of, I guess, advertising regulations and stuff like that. You can't say it treats this or it heals this or whatever, especially in healthcare. But in terms of other services like lashes or brows, by the time you walk out that appointment, there's definitely going to be a noticeable difference between how you walked in versus walked out. Yeah. So if you're struggling and you don't feel confident and certain, don't say it. Noticeable improvements in. Don't just say noticeable improvements, because, how long's a piece of string, right? So kind of the more specific, the better. And if you can put some sort of guarantee or time frame, that will help instill more confidence in them wanting to buy your products and services.
Cool. Thank you.
I can't speak well today. I'm sorry, guys. My brain's thinking too fast for my words to come out. The joys of ADHD. So with that being said, what are their biggest fears? Fully understanding your target market's deepest and most primal fears is often an overlooked component to crafting your ideal client avatar. So people, generally speaking, are more motivated by pain than they are by pleasure. They are more motivated by fear of loss than they are desire to gain something. So therefore, calling out fears in your copy and ads is an incredibly important element to get your ideal client to take action and motivate them to move away from what they fear most. So each service, each industry is going to be different. for this course, an example is, the fear of not getting any clients, not making any income and losing your business. Like that is a fear that will keep people up at night. It causes stress. And, if you have opened up a salon, probably at least one time or many times you've experienced this. Now, a lot of the time people will be focusing on the fear of losing that or the fear of that happening rather than going, yes, what if it is a huge success? This is what my life will look like. This is how it's going to happen. And so sometimes going, if you fear this, this is the check-in point. The check-in point for you to take action or know that there is a solution out there and you don't have to continually live in that fear. So it's not like COVID where we're absolutely stressing people out and making them have anxiety and heart attacks. It's raising awareness of what they're actually fearing and telling them they don't have to stay stuck there. They don't have to continue to feel that way and that you do have a solution for them. Is this all landing with you guys? I can relate this back to skin. I came back from Vietnam and I had all these, I didn't know what it was, to be honest. I went to the doctor and it was like this huge rash, but it wasn't a rash. And I thought it was pimples and everything like that. And I kind of let it go. And then it was just like, she was like, well, what if it's chickenpox or whatever? She said something crazy. And I just went, okay, this is the time to check in. And she said, this is what you need to do. And that's what people want. They want direction. If they're scared of something, they don't want to stay stuck there forever. They want to know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So when you're looking at your services, when you're looking at your products, like what are the biggest fears that are relatable to that? And how do you make them aware of they don't have to stay stuck there, that there is a solution, that they can have that support, they can be helped. 6 is, what is their preferred form of communication? So communicate with your customers where they already are. Don't try and move them on to something that is more convenient for you rather than where they already are. Really, really easy example is if I was targeting 60+ year olds and I was trying to message them on TikTok, it's just not going to happen. It's going to be an absolute nightmare for them. And if I'm sitting here and I'm trying to target these 20 to 30-year-olds and I'm going, oh yeah, go on your emails or something like that, and they probably spend more time on social media or texting, it's going to create a bit of resistance. So think about, what age am I targeting? Where are they hanging out the most? There's no point wasting time trying to get Facebook marketing and strategy to work if you're trying to target, I guess, let's say it was 20 to 30-year-olds, you're trying to target those type of people when you're going on Facebook. They're probably on Instagram or TikTok more so. So why are you wasting all your time, your energy, your resources into a platform that your ideal client isn't even hanging out on? Likewise, if you're trying to target mums, are you going to sit there on TikTok or Snapchat? I don't know, like something that is completely irrelevant when they're probably hanging out on Facebook. So you've got to meet them where they are. With your clients, do you find most of them are email or text? If you need to give them an update about something, whether it's their appointment time, what do you think they respond to? And I know some of you will be sending out text and email reminders, but where are your clients actually reading it? Just drop it in the chat. Text. So across the board, everyone is pretty much saying that they communicate mostly through text. Now, if we're to get more specific, when your client's got a last minute cancellation or maybe you're sick and you need to change something, is that text a phone text message or is it on social media? Where do they respond faster? Depends on the client. Yep. Socials. Mostly text. So this is why it's important to know. Because if you send a message and you know, hey, they probably don't spend the most time there, or they might miss it, they might not check it, like you need to make sure, okay, I know this is where they're hanging out. This is where I can communicate with them, because it's going to make it that much easier for both parties involved. So this is diving a bit deeper. What phrases, exact language, and vernacular do they use? Now, just who here knows what vernacular means? Who needs an explanation? So vernacular is like the common language that we would use. So, you know, us as Aussies would say servo, bottle-o, you know, convo. We know that they're all slang words that are just common for us. But if we went and said that in other countries, they'd probably be like, what are you talking about? Now, to get more specific with beauty, if I am a lash tech talking about using 0.05 C curl 7 to 11 millimeter lashes, a client's not going to understand what any of that means. So by you posting about that, they're probably not going to think, oh, but if it's like, this is more natural looking, or this opens up your eyes more, they're going to relate to that language. And so when you're thinking about creating content, make sure you step into the shoes of your ideal client. What words, what language, what phrases are familiar to them? Another really good example is, you know, cosmetic tattooing and skin. Some of the products that are used or some of the techniques, people are going to have no idea what that means. But if you talk about what benefits it's going to provide them with, or what that outcome is going to look like, they can go, oh yeah, this is the right thing for me. So enter the conversation already taking place in your customer's mind. Listen to your audience's word-for-word responses to questions during their initial consult, throughout their appointments, when they comment on your posts, or reply to your texts. So what industry terminology are they using? What specific vernacular and niche specific terms? People are attracted to people and businesses who speak their language, get their sense of humor, or share the same point of view. So every time they read your copy, your goal is for your ideal client to say to themselves, wow, it's like they're exactly talking to me. Does anyone hear when I'm saying all of this stuff? Do you hear any common phrases from clients and you just like, is anything coming up for you guys?
My clients always say they have sensitive skin, which does my head in, but I know what they mean. It's like sensitized skin.
And so what does sensitive skin look like in their eyes versus yours?
So getting all sciencey, like sensitive skin is atopic, whereas to a client, it's sensitized skin. So it's generally something in their environment or internally, or they're using on their skin has made their skin sensitive. So it would be red, irritated, anything they use might burn or tingle, those sort of words.
So those words, exactly what you just said then, burn, tingle, that's what you need to use when you're communicating. And to reposition yourself as the expert, because, you know, you probably do have other skin people following you and you're going, oh, they're going to think I don't know what I know. You start off by using those common words, and then you go from a professional point of view, you can come in with your key terminology and do some educating. Not only are you connecting and resonating with them, they're going, okay, yes, that's what I'm experiencing, but you're also going and positioning yourself as the expert and educating them and providing them with value.
Yeah, awesome.
Just trying to think of other ones. Also, like, what kind of words do you use for your people? You know, I know I've got a couple people I follow. She calls everyone chicken nuggets. And then I know Shani Grimman, she's one to call people chickens. And, you know, I used to do beauty bosses. I can't handle that. I don't use that word anymore. But, you know, what kind of words do you call your people? You know, Australian, we call everyone mate. Do you use babes? Do you use angels? You know, when you create that level of consistency, sometimes people will connect with it more. Anything else coming up for you guys? If anyone watches this back and they're a hairdresser, I think this is a common one as well. When they go, oh, yeah, my hair's orange, or, you know, I want it to be blonde. And it's like, no, there's ashy tones and there's creamy blonde. There's specific terms. So if you're to talk about, I'm going to create this perfect creamy blonde, people are going to go like, what does that mean? But if you lead in with, if you've experienced orange hair in the past and you're wanting more of a lighter tone, the creamy blonde is perfect for you. And then give a bit more context about what creamy blonde is, or educate, you know, the correct terminology for what they're saying. Actually, you could do a post on that, you know, client terms versus professional terms. I want natural lashes, classic. I want them to be a bit more full volume. You know, what is their words versus yours? How can you create content out of that? Question 8, what does a day in your ideal client's life look like? So imagining your ideal client's daily life looks like, what it looks like adds an incredible personal element to your marketing. It also becomes really practical. So when is the best time to get their attention, and when are they most likely to respond? So your ideal client is a completely different person at 8 a.m. on Monday morning versus 7 p.m. on a Friday night. Be aware of this and use it in your marketing. So if you're a mum and you got to do school drop off, you're probably not going to be checking your phone anytime between like 7 a.m. till 9:30. Now, if I'm, as a business owner, I'm trying to target mums and I'm sending out all my marketing communications at like 8:45, 9 a.m., probably not the best time. Now, you've got to think, there are things like your insights where you can see when your audience is most active and all of that. But is there a time where they're just going to be there chilling out and not wanting to consume content? Like what time of their day? Like I'll give you an example. If you can map out their day from start to finish and see, you know, when would they be at work? When would they have their coffee break? When would they be dropping the kids off? Or when would they have their sports on? You can kind of figure out, okay, well, when is the best time that I would be approaching the vast majority of these people? Because I've seen it. Some people, they don't think about what time they put out their marketing content makes an impact of, okay, why was my engagement great versus why was it shit? If you feel, oh crap, I forgot to put a post up, and you decide to do it at 10 p.m. at night, everyone's gone to bed. Same thing if you're trying to do it at 5 a.m. in the morning. Just because I woke up early and I decided, oh yeah, I'm going to post this, who's actually going to be there reading it? Do you guys know how to check your insights and your most active times? For anyone watching it that hasn't, I'll give a really quick run through, but basically you go onto Instagram, or you can go onto Meta Business, but I'm just going to do Instagram because it's easier. You click the top right with the 3 lines, and then you click Insights. And all you do is just scroll all the way down to total followers. And then, this is terrible. You scroll all the way down, and down the bottom it says most active times, and it shows you the hours. So you can see how many people are active during the different hours throughout the day, and then also days of the week. So if you can see that Friday, Saturday, not many people are on in comparison to Sunday to Thursday, and you're deciding I'm going to put up 4 posts a week or 5 posts a week, you'd want to be posting on those active days. And then the last question is, what makes them happy? So your clients are emotional beings, and people want to interact with brands that make them feel good about themselves. So where are the touch points in your ideal client's journey where you can insert surprises, do the unexpected, be remarkable, and bring a smile to their face? So inserting happiness into the buyer's journey can create a deeper level of emotional connection that cultivates loyal and raving fans for the long term. So this could look like birthday specials or, you know, an offer or a little gift or something like that, people will value that. They'll remember that. They'll probably post about it and it'll give you some more brand exposure. You know, I always send my new followers a message to invite them to a private Facebook group where I provide them with free information. It's going to help them. You know, maybe you message your client and say, thank you so much for the follow. I love your post about XYZ. You know, if you ever want to come in, I'd love to offer you, and, you know, it might be a value add or it might be a small discount. You know, what's going to provide them with value, make them happy? It's going to make them like you. Here's some other little considerations. You've got your goals. So what are the goals or desired outcomes that a client would look to achieve when working with you? So like I said last week, you've got 3 things you can focus on: physical transformation, emotional transformation, and a lifestyle transformation. These people don't just want the service you offer. They're actually looking for an experience. Then you've got your values, which is something we also touched on last week. What values are they looking for? You know, do they want high quality, cleanliness and hygiene, professionalism, personalization, trustworthiness, innovation, customer service, efficiency? If you can speak to the values, you're going to touch a nerve in them. They're going to go, oh, wow, okay, cool. I also value that. I connect with that. I resonate with that. I want to go with them. Let's say the salon next door to you doesn't ever speak about any values. They're just constantly selling. People are going to get bored of that. But if you're talking about why you have a high quality product, what results that means for your clients, how the results last longer because you're using better quality, all of a sudden people go, wow, I value that high quality. I want to go to them over the other place. You picking up what I'm putting down? Then you've got objections and barriers. So barriers are any factors that prevent or hinder a potential customer from buying a product or service. And then objections are concerns or challenges that are a potential customer raises during the sales process. So a couple of questions to ask yourself here. What has previously been a common reason or an excuse for clients not booking in your services? And how can you pre-handle these objections and shift their mindset? Who here's had some objections or barriers from clients, like they've inquired and then they don't end up booking in? Did they ever give you a reason why? No. Well, I've definitely had some within my time, and I've created this framework, which is a bonus included in this week's module. Have you ever received any of these from clients? Like, it's too expensive. I'm not sure it'll work for me. I don't trust you. I don't need it. Or I've tried it and it didn't work.
Both the first and the last one, definitely.
I think these ones are the silent ones. The ones that they will never admit out loud. But these ones are more, I guess people might say something. Now, the way this works, and you can use this as inspiration to create content, is if someone says it's too expensive, well, it's usually because they don't view the offer as a good deal or they don't see the value in it. So then what content would you create, or how would you communicate with your audience? You would talk about the amount of value that they get in comparison to the price. Now, when you're talking about value, just remember it's not the service itself. It's the years of your training. It's the experience. It's the premium products you're using. It's how when they come in, you've got the heater running for them, you've got the essential oils going, and it's a calm, relaxing, and safe space for them to just have some self-care time. Now, all of a sudden, that $100 or $150 price point for just getting that service versus getting that entire experience, it's going to be perceived very differently. Is this helping? Is this giving you some insights? So it won't work for me. This is really common with, I think, skin. People actually have this fear, whether they voice it or not. They're probably thinking, oh, it won't work for me. Maybe they don't believe in the solution, or it just feels like it's too good to be true because they've been struggling for so long. So the type of content I would be putting out is social proof, some case studies, and testimonials. So like you were saying, if someone's had, 6 years of chronic cystic acne and they just feel like they've tried everything and nothing's worked, which also does tie into maybe the last one as well, they're probably going to sit there and just go, no, this is another gimmick. I don't know. It's not going to work. Why would I even bother? I've just kind of given up. So what you could do is look at who is a client that you were able to achieve a similar result with. Granted that you have permission to speak about it, you don't have to use their name. And if they are really uncomfortable with the before and afters, you might just block out their eyes or crop the photo in a way that doesn't show who they are. And you could talk about, what was the treatment I used? How long did this realistically take? How consistent were they with their skincare routine? And then what was the end result? And then having that testimonial from them, whether it's written or just a screenshot of a text message or something like that, all of a sudden you putting that out there has now made people go, oh, okay. I remember when I was talking before about people will relate to the frustrations and the challenges. And if they see a testimonial of someone who was going through that same thing and had that problem solved, they're more likely to buy from you. By you putting this type of content out there, they're going to be able to relate. They're going to see hope, and the likelihood of them taking action is going to be a lot higher. How do you value stack without sounding desperate? Well, it comes down to create an offer. I think value stacking in general versus discounting. Discounting is usually the one that sounds more desperate. But value stack, what service? Give me an example of a service. I just read the message. Wait, I think I kind of did answer that question in a sense when I was talking about the experience, cosmetic tattoo. All right. So if you were offering cosmetic tattoo, which cosmetic tattoo service is it specifically? Is it feather touch? Is it powdered brow? Is it combo? Say powder brows. Okay. So in terms of someone coming in, included in the price, in the service is they've got a customized bespoke brow shape. So it's not a one size fit all. It's going to enhance their natural brows. You've got X amount of years experience or X amount of certifications. So obviously you can't just buy that experience. That's years of you refining, perfecting, and becoming who you are today. Maybe it's the bed that you have. Is it comfortable? Do you have a bolster for them? What's making the experience better? Is it that you're efficient at what you do and you can still deliver an incredible outcome? Like, what value are you adding to the experience, not just the service? Is it that you use a certain brand and that brand is obviously associated with certain things? Do you give them a little aftercare kit? Is that included as a bonus? And then what is the benefit of that aftercare kit for them? Like, how do you break down the whole experience and the service and what that is providing that client with at that given time? Because it's not just cosmetic tattooing. And it's not just the powder brows. It's like what are they coming in from the second they step in the door to when they leave? What does that experience look like for them? And how do you make that valuable? So how do you break down the different things? Does that give you a bit more insight? I'm just going to park that one there. If you do, so do you write all those extras in your content? Yeah, you speak about it for sure. So you could say, you know, how Bespoke Brow Studio, you know, is offering XYZ service. And then you talk about what makes our service different. And then you can say, you know, all those benefits, all those things I was speaking about. And then talk about it's not just a service, it's an experience. And this is what that experience looks like. And then you can talk about bonus. So one of the secret formulas I would use is when I talk about benefits, I will state what the thing is, and then I say so, and then insert benefit here. It's a really simple sentence structure. It just gets my brain flowing so that I know I'm not just talking about all the features. Because if you go aftercare kit, you go, you know, top quality products, like they're just going to sit there and go, okay, but what does that mean for them? You know, customers, clients, they only care about what's in it for them. So by having that so, and then insert the benefit here, they can connect and see, oh, this is why they choose to do this, and this is how it makes it better for me. So if people don't trust you, and this will come from if you're not having a high conversion, they probably don't trust you. And we'll go through this in the know, like, trust later on in the weeks. You need to focus on creating some more authority, credibility, and risk reversal. So how many times are you speaking about your techniques, your process? How many times have you spoken about your results you've been able to achieve and how you were able to achieve them? Your trainings, your biggest stuff ups and what you learn, all of this stuff that creates authority, it creates credibility, it creates trust. Next one, I don't need it. It's maybe because you haven't connected your solution to their pain. So what you'll focus on is the relatable challenges and specific benefits you can provide them with. And then the last one, I've tried it before and it didn't work. They probably had a bad experience in the past. So what is your unique solution or your unique approach? How is it different? Is it the products you use? Is it the training you've had? Is it the style or technique? Is it the time frame of realistic delivery of results? Like, what is it that is going to be different that can instill trust within them to want to come to you? How's your approach better? It's different, or it's more unique than other alternatives. So in the worksheet, you'll see something like this, and this is just to jot down some basic information to start getting a better idea of who your ideal client is. So what kind of age are they? What's their relationship status? Do they have a family? What kind of challenges are they facing? What are their hopes, dreams, and desires? Occupation and estimated income. What are their values? What's their personality type? What are their hobbies and interests? Obviously, someone who is single versus someone who is married and have kids, you're going to connect with them. You're going to speak to them differently. You know, someone who is working a casual job at Kmart or Hungry Jack's versus someone who is working in a CEO high-level position running a company, they're going to be two different people. So by understanding all these little things, when you're telling stories, when you're creating your copy, when you are speaking to them, you need to understand who it is you're speaking to and how you can connect with them. So the recap and homework for this week is complete the target markets mastery worksheet. Now, this will come out tonight. Kajabi is currently doing an update, so I can't upload or do anything, but once it's live, there'll be an announcement. You'll receive an email. And then the second part is I want you to create a piece of content that speaks directly to your ideal client about one of your services. So remember last week how we did that table and you had the problems and promises? And I said, you know, do it for a service or your niche or whatever works for you. Use that as inspiration and remember to use analogies or vernacular or terminology that is relatable to them. So if you need some feedback or you want to check, have it checked over or anything like that, send it through on Insta and I can give you some voice notes. I just saw your message come up. You need to select one person or could you have two ideal clients? You might actually have different ideal clients for different services. Something to be aware of. And you might go, okay, well, I have younger clients and I have older clients, but I know these clients usually get these services or these clients get the other ones. So where's my chat box? Okay. Because I'll give you an example. I think Feather Touch will probably be more of someone who has thinner, sparser eyebrows and usually an older client. But then if you were to get Powder or Combo, it might be more of a 20 to 40-year-old clientele. Same with lashes. You know, there might be specific styles and certain ages seem to choose to get those styles over other ones. Is all of that made sense? Has today been of value? Have you got any questions? Do you feel like you know what you need to do after this? Yeah, all good? So what I'll do is I will give an update into the announcements when everything has been uploaded. And yes, the framework will be available to you, but it's just in its own worksheet. It's not a worksheet, sorry, a PDF. So you can download that, print it out and have that stuck up wherever you want. And then basically with the target mastery, market mastery worksheet, what I want you to do is fill that out and have that kind of sitting somewhere. So whenever you're going to create your content, if you're feeling a bit lost or a bit stuck, I want you to reread over that. And that will get you into the zone of, okay, who am I talking to? What do I need to say? Because that's a really good reference point. If you feel like none of your marketing is ever connecting with people and you're not really getting engagement, it's probably because you haven't been able to speak to your ideal client and target market. So not giving you heaps of work. I just want you to get really comfortable and familiar with who it is that you're trying to market to. And as we move forward, all of this stuff is going to tie in together. You know, if you feel like building up your engagement, you might start going, okay, well, now I know who my ideal client is. Where can I find them on social media? Is it in hashtags, location? Is it in restaurants that are popular and in my area? And then go through and go, oh, is this an ideal client? Yep. If it is, you can follow them, like a few of their photos and comment on one. That strategy I've been doing for a year now, and it's grown me over 2,000 followers organically. Now that is one of the best ways that you can kind of trial and test. If they see your content and you've engaged with them and they like you, they'll follow you. If they don't, then they're probably not an ideal client. But that is one strategy we'll dive deeper into later on. And just a side note, it's great for you to understand all of this stuff first before you pass on any of your social media marketing jobs, any engagement to a VA. Because if you don't know and you can't tell someone else, then you're not going to get any results. You're going to struggle because everything you create will need to be based around these people. All right, guys, thank you so much for jumping on. I hope you have an incredible rest of your week, and I will be in contact with you when all of the worksheets and stuff are live today. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, Sammy.
No worries. See ya.
See ya.